From deep within the earth, molten lava pierces through the oceanic crust, giving birth to an archipelago in the heart of the Pacific Ocean. The first to lay eyes on this place called it a hell on earth. Amid this rugged and desolate terrain, life must confront the raw forces of nature by evolving extraordinary survival strategies. To endure, these creatures have had to constantly change and adapt. A prime example is the marine iguana, a species found nowhere else on the planet. Cold ocean currents have fostered lush, emerald rainforests across these volcanic islands. To the human eye, the animals that inhabit this land often appear cursed, exiled to a forsaken realm. Yet in their isolation, they have forged a paradise of their own. This is the story of the survivors at the edge of the world on the Galápagos Islands. Subscribe now to witness how life bends, breaks, and blossoms in one of Earth's wildest laboratories. This distant chain of rocky islands was visited by naturalist Charles Darwin nearly 180 years ago. Comprising 13 major islands and around 100 smaller ones, it is known as the Galápagos Islands. Straddling the equator, nearly 1,000 kilometers west of mainland Ecuador, every island in this archipelago is volcanic, formed from molten rock welling up from deep beneath the Earth's crust. Galápagos remains one of the most volcanically active regions on Earth. In recent times, eruptions on Isabella and Fernandina Islands in the west have sent rivers of red-hot lava surging across the landscape, threatening all forms of life. As the lava cools, it hardens into jagged rock, transforming the islands into a harsh, forbidding world. All living creatures are then forced to seek out new homes or perish. The first plant to take root on the hardened lava is the cactus. Where the molten rock meets the sea, the landscape is ever-changing, a testament to nature's relentless will to thrive in the face of volcanic adversity. Over thousands of years, the creatures here have endured. And each species has developed its own distinct strategies for survival, gradually evolving into endemic forms found nowhere else on Earth. From the Galapagos seas emerges a striking example, the blue-footed booby. Occasionally, schools of small fish rise to the surface, creating a breathtaking spectacle. Wings tucked tightly, the birds plunge into the ocean like arrows, hunting with synchronized precision. These are the blue-footed boobies, seabirds that fish in coordinated flocks. Roughly 75% of the world's blue-footed boobies live in the Galapagos. They mate when food is abundant, typically between May and December. During the breeding season, they gather on remote islands, far from predators. The males court females by raising their tails and wings in a ritualized display. When conditions are right, the female lays 2 to 3 eggs, and both parents take turns incubating them. But it is also the hottest time of year, making incubation an exhausting and perilous task. April and May, springtime in the Galapagos, offer a rare glimpse into the unique courtship rituals of seabirds. The male frigate bird inflates a bright red throat pouch and emits a distinctive drumming call to attract a mate. This is truly a paradise for seabirds. But for species confined to the land, these lava-covered islands present far fewer charms. They must roam constantly in search of food. Most of the terrain here is volcanic in origin, making it extremely difficult for plants to grow. To survive, land iguanas feed on the island's scarce vegetation, most notably the spiny cactus. This hardy plant is one of the few able to take root in the hostile soil, and its fleshy interior provides not only sustenance, but also a rare source of fresh water. But feeding on cactus is no easy task. The lucky iguana has stumbled upon one that's already been half-eaten. Even the cacti here have evolved to meet the island's unforgiving conditions. They grow tall and sprout long spines to keep hungry mouths at bay. Land iguanas typically live around 30 years, but in the Galápagos, where natural predators are few, they can live up to 60. Their greatest threat isn't a predator, it's hunger. But how did they come to inhabit such a harsh and remote place? Perhaps the Galápagos was never their original home. On the mainland of Ecuador, scientists have discovered their closest relatives, land iguanas that thrive in lush forests, surrounded by plentiful greenery and abundant fresh water. In contrast, the Galápagos iguana resembles a miniature dinosaur, complete with a row of spines down its back and a dewlap beneath its chin. It's likely that their ancestors were swept away by storms or floods, cast adrift across nearly 1,000 kilometers of open ocean before finally washing ashore here. But the land they reached was starkly different from the one they had known. The forests were sparse, and their only food source, the tough, thorn-covered cacti. Often, they must wait patiently for a single fallen leaf. On scorching days, the wide cactus pads offer precious shade. In this extreme environment, it is the reptiles that reign, creatures with a high tolerance for salt and the ability to survive for long periods without food or water. Though they eat little, the iguanas must fight fiercely over the island's meager food supplies. In such a harsh struggle for survival, some species have become pioneers in the race of evolution. Among them, the marine iguana. The marine iguana is the only lizard on Earth that lives in the ocean. For a creature born of land, adapting to life beneath the waves is no simple feat. Over countless generations, evolution has reshaped their bodies. Their torsos have flattened, making them agile swimmers. Strong limbs and sharp claws allow them to cling tightly to slick volcanic rock. Their tails have become powerful, built to withstand the relentless force of crashing waves. Before diving into the frigid ocean, they perform a critical ritual, basking in the sun to raise their body temperature. As iguanas are cold-blooded and cannot regulate their own heat, once they've soaked in enough warmth, they plunge into the sea, ready to face the next challenge in their daily battle for survival. Marine iguanas primarily feed on red and green algae that grow in cold waters. They can survive on as little as 100 grams of algae per day. The seafloor is covered in green, which is why some iguanas leave the land and venture into the sea. Although food is abundant, they cannot afford to be greedy. Marine iguanas can dive as deep as 10 meters, but staying underwater for more than 10 minutes is dangerous. A drop in body temperature can paralyze their organs. Among the creatures that drift along ocean currents from South America, there is one species that can weigh up to 250 kilograms, the giant tortoise, also known as the Galápagos tortoise. This animal has many different names. The first people to set foot on the islands called them Galápago, which means saddle in Spanish, because their shells resembled a saddle. The name of the Galápagos Islands also originated from this term. These tortoises have evolved differently depending on the island they inhabit. Tortoises in arid lowlands have long necks, allowing them to reach up and feed on cactus leaves. Although they arrived in the Galapagos about 3.2 million years ago, giant tortoises have diversified into 16 different species. The Galapagos has two seasons, the dry season and the wet season. From July to December, the highlands become lush and green, while the lowlands remain dry. It's hard to believe that such contrasting landscapes can exist on the same island at the same time. The reason for this phenomenon lies in the ocean currents. In July, the warm Panama Current recedes, while the cold Humboldt Current from Antarctica arrives. This cools the climate for half the year. The Humboldt Current also cools the air, pushing warm air upward and creating fog and winds that cover the highlands, a phenomenon known as garua, meaning fog. Santa Cruz is the second largest island in the Galapagos. The Humboldt Current also cools the air, pushing warm air upward, and creating fog, and winds that cover the highlands, a phenomenon known as garua, meaning fog. The drizzle and fog create a dense, moist forest, the Scalesia forest, home to a tree species endemic to the islands that shares its name. With abundant food sources, the Highland tortoises have dome-shaped shells that allow them to move easily and forage among the grasses. They live a luxurious life like the top 1% of the tortoise world, in stark contrast to the lowland tortoises that survive on only cacti. After feeding, they bask in the sun or soak in pools to maintain their body temperature, helping them withstand the cold climate of the highlands. This truly is a peaceful paradise in the middle of the ocean. The lives of marine iguanas are deeply shaped by the rhythms of the moon. The moon's gravitational pull causes 2 high tides and 2 low tides each day, transforming the coastal landscape with clockwork precision. When the tide recedes, sandy shores and jagged reefs are exposed, turning the shallow coastline into a signal, a call to the marine iguanas. They emerge swiftly, sometimes as if from nowhere, and move in unison toward the ocean. Their synchronized motion reflects a timeless cycle of nature, simple yet extraordinary. During the full moon and new moon, the moon's pull reaches its peak, drawing the tides lower than at any other time. In these moments, the marine iguanas no longer need to dive. The exposed rocks become a feast laid bare, allowing them to feed leisurely on algae, no longer struggling beneath the waves, but instead enjoying a rare moment of abundance. Why does the vegetation here grow so quickly? Beneath the blazing equatorial sun, the algae regrow in as little as 2 weeks. Thanks to this rapid renewal, marine iguanas enjoy a constant supply of food, rarely needing to wander far in search of nourishment. But it isn't only the iguanas that await the falling tide. As the waters retreat, tiny creatures begin to emerge, including crabs. Around 100 crab species have been recorded across the Galápagos Islands and surrounding waters, each adapted to a wide range of coastal habitats. On the beach, crab strolls calmly across the sand. They scoop up sand with its claws, sifting for organic particles before discarding the rest as tiny, rolled-up pellets. But today, it's not just feeding. Male ghost crabs often perform a curious ritual, digging burrows and carefully patting down the sand at the entrance with their claws. Biologists believe this is a form of courtship display, a visual signal to attract females during mating season. Time passes. The 36-hour tidal cycle begins to reverse. Water slowly creeps back over the shoreline. The small coastal dwellers must return to their shelters before the waves reclaim the land. The first to retreat are the rock crabs. They cannot swim, and by now, the sea has risen considerably. But these nimble creatures possess a remarkable ability. They move like tiny water skimmers, skipping across the surface with surprising speed and agility. For this reason, they're known by a poetic name, the light-footed crabs. The underwater realm of the Galapagos feels like a remnant of a primordial Earth, mysterious and teeming with life. Whether on land or below the waves, every creature here is bound to the ocean. The rich supply of fish sustains everything, from seabirds to human communities. Some species have evolved to embrace this unusual environment, like the Galapagos penguin, the only penguin in the world that lives in a tropical climate. A green sea turtle, one of the ocean's gentle herbivores, glides gracefully through jade-colored waters in search of a peaceful resting place. Unhurried, it savors a plentiful meal, a moment of stillness in the vast underwater world. The richness of this ecosystem fuels rapid growth. Beneath the blazing equatorial sun, seaweed regenerates within 2 weeks, forming a thriving, tropical forest beneath the waves. Back on the shore, sea lions claim the beaches as their own, basking in the cool surf and warm sunlight. When hunger calls, they begin the hunt. As opportunistic feeders, sea lions chase a variety of prey, from squid to sardines. Thanks to the nutrient-rich waters, this ocean is a paradise for countless species of fish. Life here flourishes, a perfect dance beneath the crystal-clear waves. Whether the sea lions are playing or chasing their next meal, they are part of a mesmerizing and dynamic tableau. Schools of small fish glide silently to the surface, while below, a fierce battle for survival rages. Seabirds patrol the coast, always on alert, ready to call in reinforcements when they spot prey. One of the most spectacular hunting tactics belongs to the blue-footed booby, diving into the ocean like an arrow. The name booby comes from the Spanish word bobo, meaning fool. Early sailors gave them this name after discovering how easy it was to catch them when they first encountered these curious birds. But despite their seemingly silly name, these birds hunt with astonishing speed and precision. Their bright blue feet may seem playful, but behind the charm lies a cold, calculated predator. By late August, as the cold ocean currents reach their peak, the islands are cloaked in thick fog. Out of the mist, a surprising visitor appears, riding the frigid waters from the far reaches of Antarctica. It is the Galápagos penguin, small in stature, standing only about 50 centimeters tall. Over thousands of years of evolution, this tiny bird has perfectly adapted to the warm climate of the Galápagos. During the day, it stays mostly in the cool waters, avoiding the intense heat of the sun, returning to land only when the sea surface cools at night. Thanks to this extraordinary adaptation, the Galápagos penguin has become the only penguin species in the world to live in a tropical environment. This is a land of calm and quiet beauty. But beyond the shore, the ocean is far from calm. In this season, the open waters are wild and untamed. Waves crash relentlessly against the rocks, as if testing the resilience of nature itself. Mangrove forests in the Galápagos are resilient coastal guardians, anchoring themselves in volcanic rock and forming living walls that shield the shore from storms. Thriving in salt water, they purify the sea and absorb carbon dioxide, acting as vital lungs of the islands. Their dense roots provide a sanctuary for marine life, from tiny fish and vibrant reef dwellers to green sea turtles seeking rest. Beneath their tangled branches, the mangroves uphold the fragile balance of this unique ecosystem. Just a little further out is where whales and large sharks often play together. In 2016, the world's largest marine sanctuary for sharks was established in the Galápagos Islands. At the top of the protected list, whale sharks, the ocean's apex predators. If you violate the fishing regulations in the Galápagos, you will never be allowed to fish there again. Around 10 shark species are found in these waters, including the elusive white-tip reef shark that dwells in the deep. These are creatures of the night, resting by day and hunting by nightfall. Though they struggle to see in the dark, they make up for it with extraordinary senses, a powerful sense of smell, and an uncanny ability to detect the heartbeat of their prey. So they can find their prey no matter where they are hiding. In their world, hiding is futile. But the ocean turns even more formidable when the great hammerheads appear, predators whose strange, flattened heads give them a panoramic view of their surroundings. With eyes spaced far apart, they can track multiple fish at once, scanning the currents like living sonar. These are migratory giants, journeying between Colombian waters, Malpelo Island, and the Galápagos. Yet for all their power, they are hunted for their prized fins, a brutal trade that has pushed them dangerously close to extinction. The massive barracuda schools now drift calmly. Because of the abundance of food, the fish all swam leisurely and enjoyed this peaceful moment. But everything begins to change between June and December. As the cold Humboldt Current weakens, the warm Panama Current flows down from the north, carrying heat and fewer nutrients. Sea temperatures rise, and the air grows increasingly humid. Guided by the trade winds and shifting currents, the Galápagos Islands experience two distinct seasons: 6 months of dryness, followed by 6 months of humidity. The delicate balance of life here depends on this cyclical rhythm. Yet every 3 to 7 years, that balance is shattered. The once thriving seas fall eerily silent. This is the arrival of El Niño, the ocean's fever, bringing with it a sudden and devastating rise in temperature. The Galápagos trembles twice a year with each seasonal shift, but El Niño delivers something far more severe: an ecological catastrophe. Many species simply cannot cope with the abrupt changes. Mass die-offs follow. Why does El Niño keep returning? The answer lies in the trade winds. When they weaken, warm water from the western Pacific surges eastward, all the way to the coast of Peru. The sea heats up rapidly, triggering a chain reaction that even the most adaptable creatures struggle to survive. This archipelago was once a mystery beyond human comprehension. Its isolation gave rise to a unique ecosystem, and that very ecosystem gave birth to entirely new species. These creatures adapted to the region's harsh weather conditions. Along with ocean currents and shifting winds, life here gradually adjusted in order to survive. But one day, the peace of nature on these islands was disrupted. Can humans and nature truly coexist? Or is that merely an illusion created by humans themselves? The raw essence of nature lies within the mysterious truth of the Galápagos Islands. This primordial archipelago lies about 1,000 kilometers off the coast of mainland Ecuador. Its environment remains largely unpolluted, preserving the beauty and wonder of this remote land. Though nature's laws here are harsh and unforgiving, life continues, with creatures depending on one another to survive. This is one of the few places on Earth where the natural environment has been preserved much as it was when it first came into being. About 20% of marine species in the Galápagos are endemic. An astonishing 97% of its mammals and reptiles are also found nowhere else on Earth. This makes its flora and fauna truly unique. Of the 5 inhabited islands in the Galápagos, Isabela is the largest, twice the size of Santa Cruz. Upon arriving on this island, visitors are greeted by long-resident animals that call this place home. However, danger often lurks wherever humans dwell. After witnessing how local wildlife has grown wary, the people living here have also become more cautious. Visitors must take extra care not to disturb the sleepy marine iguanas basking in the sun. Some animals here have evolved in an environment without predators, so they don't need to be wary of humans. They have no need to camouflage themselves like volcanic rocks. They simply live wherever they please, basking in the sunlight. Continuing our journey through the enchanting Galápagos, we now encounter one of the archipelago's most extraordinary aerial residents, the magnificent frigate bird. The frigate bird is one of the most iconic seabirds of the Galápagos Islands, easily recognized by its impressive size and striking biological traits. With an enormous wingspan of up to 2.3 meters and a light body weight of only 1 to 1.8 kilograms, these birds can glide effortlessly for hours without flapping their wings. Both males and females have glossy black feathers. But the male is especially distinctive thanks to his bright red throat pouch, a balloon-like sac that he inflates during the breeding season to attract a mate. In contrast, females have a prominent white chest and lack the throat pouch, making it easy to distinguish between the sexes. Frigate birds lack oil glands, so their feathers aren't waterproof. As a result, they rarely dive, and instead catch prey by skimming the ocean's surface or, more famously, by stealing food from other seabirds, a behavior known as kleptoparasitism. They often chase smaller birds like terns or boobies midair until the victim regurgitates its catch, which the frigate bird snatches in flight. Nests are usually built in low shrubs on islands like North Seymour and Genovesa. Each mating pair raises only one chick, and the young are dependent on parental care for several months, sometimes up to a year, making frigate birds slow to reproduce and highly sensitive to environmental disturbances. On the docks, sea lions are a constant presence. They take over benches, whether people are sitting on them or not. The pups, less than a year old, stay busy nursing from their mothers. They act purely on instinct, no matter where they are. Perhaps it's because they don't see humans as a threat. It truly feels like a land of peaceful coexistence. Even when sea lions block the entrance to an office, the locals consider it just a minor daily nuisance. Occasionally, dangerous situations arise, but people here have learned to manage them with calm and care. Even in moments of tension, sea lions never seem flustered. They simply drive out intruders from their territory. They may look ready to threaten, yet often, they just turn away in silence. These creatures can be found all around town. But why are sea lions wandering the streets when they truly belong on the beaches? The answer lies in the waves. Most shores across the archipelago are battered by relentless surf. That's why the coastlines are so rocky, hardly ideal habitat for sea lions. The flat, gentle beaches they prefer have been claimed by humans. At the same time, the quiet coastal areas, once perfect for sea lions, have become playgrounds for people. The sea lions have surrendered their natural homes, but humans pay the price. They face daily inconveniences of all kinds. For one reason or another, they sometimes can't even make it to the sea. But the sea lions were here first, and it's only fair. They once ruled these waters. A single sea lion lay sprawled across the walkway to the dock, blocking passengers from boarding or disembarking. Chaos ensued as boats circled nearby, waiting for a chance to pull in. To solve the problem, fences and support structures were eventually installed, keeping sea lions away from the boarding area and allowing people to move freely. Still, the island has set aside a quiet beach exclusively for the sea lions, a peaceful haven where they can rest without human interference. They live in groups, strictly organized with dominant males and a following harem. Territorial battles break out constantly, and only the strongest males can maintain their status. That is the law of survival for the species, between the wilds of nature and a human world that continues to expand. The bodies of dominant male sea lions are covered in scars, like badges of honor earned from countless battles. During mating season, they remain stationed on the beach, constantly guarding, always ready to chase off intruders. One alpha male rules over this area, protecting up to 30 females and their young under his command. The gestation period for sea lions lasts about 12 months. As a result, most females give birth in the same season. Newborn pups, still attached to their umbilical cords, squirm gently on the hot sand. Like its mother, this little sea lion might grow up without knowing fear, as long as it remains in the Galápagos. Young sea lions begin gathering together at about 1 month of age. While their parents hunt, they play, learn to swim, and gradually develop the skills they need to survive in the wild. But not every pup is that lucky. This particular one is weaker than the others. It wanders alone, no friends, no mother in sight. It is desperately trying to find its mother, following familiar sounds and scents in vain. Sea lions often reject outsiders not from their group. This exhausted pup only wants a place to rest, but everywhere it goes, it is chased away. No one welcomes it. Now, it is completely alone. Perhaps its parents died somewhere out at sea. Sea lion pups need their mother's milk to survive. Females will nurse their young until they are 2, even nearly 5 years old. But if its mother cannot find food, does not return, or is no longer alive, then this pup has no one left to care for it. It will be abandoned and starved, quietly facing a fate it is too young to comprehend. The sea lion population in the Galápagos has dropped sharply over the past 5 years. Many individuals have died due to accidents and disruptions in their habitat.